It's such a tragedy when there's someone that you love who doesn't feel it. And you know
Oh
you
my
love
gosh.
them, and then the two of you miss each other. You're feeling love, but they can't see or experience it or receive it. This is about love, it's about heartbreak, and it's about hope.
We're here to help you find and keep the relationship you desire. Let's dive in. What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. We are here talking about Words of Affirmation Part 3 to our Love Language series. You ready, babe?
I'm ready.
Words of affirmation is the ability to communicate your love, care, affection, and appreciation to your loved one without hesitation. And this can be verbally, this can be written, but it is a form of communication that is given to the other person in a way that you tell them that you appreciate them and things about them. Typically, these things are positive in nature.
This is one that if it's difficult for you to give words of affirmation, you don't get the cop out of they should just know, or I show them other ways. Words of affirmation is the most common love language, and because it is, there's a lot of people in your life that are going to need to hear from you things like I love you, I'm proud of you, I support you, I respect this about you, I admire this about this, you did a good job here today in whatever you did. Those sorts of things, they're just going to need to hear it. And your actions are important too, if you like to give love that way. But remember, what the love language is about learning how to have someone in your life that you really care about feel fully loved, and it's going to need to be in the way that they receive it. So if they need words, we want to help you have a couple ways to start to practice that and have it feel genuine, have it affect people. Just a quick story. One of my life coaching clients continually brought up how in her whole life she'd only heard her father say I love you one time. It was when she went off to college, and that meant a lot to her the one time, but I think she always felt a sense of loss that was her love language and she never heard that from her dad. I think there's other stories of that where people just are longing to hear something from someone that they love, and it means so much when you can put that into words, even if that's not naturally how you give love.
For sure, and those things, those words of affirmation, they matter a lot. We sometimes experience the lack of love from those that are closest to us. They're giving their love language, as she said earlier, or they lack the courage to give that level of love to that other person. Mm-hmm. Some people are frankly afraid to connect with themselves or to get in touch with their emotions. Mm-hmm. And I found and discovered that being able to be a person of words of affirmation and being able to talk in those sometimes difficult places, sometimes affirming a person what you know about them, how you feel about them, it brings you to an emotional state. And this is not anything to be afraid of. This is or ashamed of. This is a beautiful thing when you can be emotional with those words.
One thing, if you're not somebody who gives a lot of words or even likes to receive it, but you have people in your life that need it, is they can also be written. If it's hard for you to just say something to someone's face, you could write them a note that's heartfelt and genuine, saying, hey, I don't tell you this a lot, but I'm really proud of you, or I really appreciate you, or whatever the affirming word is. That would mean so much, and that's even better because they can hang on to it for years. They have that little note or card that you gave them that they can revisit if they're ever feeling down or needing some reaffirmation.
And especially you men, right?
It does tend to
seriously,
be a problem.
Seriously, it can be either sex, but typically for men, it is more difficult for us to communicate. And sometimes, like men aren't there all the time. Men aren't thinking about it, but sometimes it's just more difficult for a man to be that person because they don't want to show those emotions. They've been taught from a small age that showing emotions is weak, when actually showing emotions and being able to have those words of affirmation, that is true strength. So if it takes you a moment to process what you're thinking, to process what you feel, be able to do that. And if you have to write it down, if you spend 45 minutes in the Hallmark section in the grocery store picking out a card, there is a card there specifically to show and to express what it is that you want to say. And if it's important enough for you and that person is important enough in your life, I highly encourage you to do that. There's always words that makes a person feel the way they deserve to be felt.
It's such a tragedy when there's someone that you love who doesn't feel it. and you know you love
gosh.
them, and then the two of you miss each other. You're feeling love, but they can't see or experience it or receive it because you might be trying to do it. I'm going to pick on men, but say you're a man and you're not so verbal and you don't really tell people you love them, that you love, or you don't express a lot of things that you're proud of them, and you're trying to show them love by maybe your presence. Maybe you like to give quality time and you're always there and you're always like helping around the house. Maybe you're doing acts of service, but that person, maybe it's your wife or your kids or something, doesn't feel loved because you never say it, and they might really, really need to hear it, and it might seem useless to you because maybe you don't need to hear it, and maybe you think they should just why don't they just know I love them? Look at all the stuff I do. But that's the huge tragedy, and that's why we want to help to educate people when the person that you loved needs to receive it that way, whether it makes sense to you or not, whether you need it or not. It's really important for you to learn that communication of how to translate the love you feel into that person in a way that they can receive and really know it. It's a tragedy to feel all that love and then for that person to live years not knowing that.
Life and death lies in the power of the tongue. You have the power to birth so many opportunities, to birth growth, to create new growth. What you don't say can kill. What you do say can kill as well, but what you do say can give so much love, so much growth by simply being able to express.
So if you're wanting to grow in this area, one thing you can do is just challenge yourself one time a day, whether to someone that you care about, to just say something that's encouraging / supportive / loving. It doesn't need to be an all-out I love you. It could just be something like, hey, I appreciated that, or thank you for being you. It can start out being something really simple, but if you just make yourself practice it, you'll see how good it feels to see them light up as a response of being a receiver of what you gave, and it'll start to encourage you to want to do it more.
This is all about growth. It's not no perfection in this. It's about progression, measurable amount of progression, I should say, over a reasonable amount of time. You do a little bit at a time, and the point of all of this for all of us is to be better and get better, and if we can be better, we will be better. We want to inform you, educate you, and share our tips and insight on words of affirmation. Even though words of affirmation is not our primary love language, it makes us feel good that the other person says very complimentary things to each other and warm things to each other, and the little things that said can just change the course of your day, can change a negative engagement with someone else totally around by what this woman says to me or what I say to her.
I would say you are very verbally affirming. This is from the first video that we did about one of my beliefs about the 5 love languages is that you should just generously give all 5 of them, become well versed at all 5 of them, because even if you primarily love to receive physical touch or acts of service, it still feels amazing to have a compliment from someone that you love.
Absolutely.
It still feels amazing for them to say I love you. So become well versed at all of them and generously give from all the gifts, even if your partner primarily receives one.
You're never done. You never finish growing. This is all a progression, and we're all a work in progress. And the goal is to be better today than we were yesterday, and better tomorrow than we are today.
The other encouraging thing about love languages is just, you can get better. He's talking about growth, and we can grow in our ability to communicate in any language, whether we're learning Spanish or English or German, whatever language we're learning, we practice and we get better and better. So these languages, these love languages, are something you actually can practice and get better and better at. It's not just you have it or you don't, or you're good at it or you're bad at it. It's a way for you to continue to learn how to love people in your life better. One thing to remember about these love languages is they are as important to a person as the air they breathe. And when someone that you love, whether it's your spouse or your children, is not receiving this from you, they will start to feel like they're dying inside. They need this. It's not just something that's nice to talk about. Like, the marriages literally can end because that person is not receiving your love language. So this is a really important thing to learn.
So Danke schön for tuning in.
Merci.
No, seriously, thank you so much for tuning in. Pass this video along to people that you know can benefit from it. We're here to serve, to bring value to people. Make sure that you comment below with things that you like to do for words of affirmation, or challenges that you have for words of affirmation. Be sure to give us a follow on social media, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. So the more that you do that, the more that the system, the formula, the algorithm favors it going to people that need it.
And give somebody a word of affirmation today.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love the way that you just gave the audience a positive action to take to give someone that they know an affirmation today.
Well, thank you, baby.
That's like she just you just gave like 10,000 people out there affirmations by you saying, "Hey, go do that." So yeah, spreading love. That's what we're all about. Yeah. Again, thanks for joining in. We will see you in the next video.